Hey, Falcon Zero here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a top 10 best GameCube list for you, and actually it's going to be a top 12 list because I could not pick 10 games that I love on the GameCube. I had to make it 12. I could not narrow it down any farther. Now, these are my opinion and this is my list. So with that underway, let's see if I can entertain you guys for a couple minutes here. At number 12, we have Luigi's Mansion, and like other games on this list, it is a franchise starter, as the Luigi's Mansion starter was born on the GameCube. And it's a nice game because it's not a platforming, not a jumping, it's a Mario game, but it stars his brother Luigi, and you go around a mansion sucking up ghosts. I would have put this game higher on the list, but it falls a little bit short for me because I think it was rushed, especially once you enter the third floor. The game becomes just super short, and it's only about a 5 to 6 hour game to complete. But nevertheless, this is a fantastic game and you must try this game out. And at number 11, we have Star Fox Adventures, and this may upset some people because this game has either a love-hate relationship, but don't get me wrong, Star Fox 64 is still my favorite in the Star Fox series, but I like how they took a different approach to this game, and it was the last game developed on a console by Rare for Nintendo, and this is Star Fox kind of meets Zelda, as you're solving puzzles, doing light aircraft missions, kind of like Star Fox 64 and on the Super Nintendo, but it's mainly developed on the ground and you're exploring. The voice acting is great. The puzzles are not as hard as a Zelda game, but it's the closest Star Fox game that you'll ever get to a Zelda game. And the other thing is this is on Dinosaur Planet. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? How could you ever go wrong with a game like that? This game is also a little bit on the shorter side, so it is gonna fall on number 11 on the list. At number 10, I have a racing game for you, and it's a fast racing game, it's an arcade style, and it is a hard racing game. That is F-Zero GX, a super fast racing game that gives you the arcade feel. It's gonna be that faster game than Mario Kart, and it just feels nice on the Nintendo GameCube. It's got really tight controls on there. One thing I think that holds the F-Zero game back though is this game did nothing to push the boundaries for the F-Zero series, and it could be likely why we have not seen an F-Zero game to date on a home console after F-Zero GX. Now don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic game, but I kind of do understand why maybe Nintendo went with some other racing games you might know about and continued with those instead of F-Zero. But you want a fast racing game that's an arcade style? Play F-Zero GX. Alright, I know this one might get a little bit of hate. This is a little bit of a iffy one for if you either really love this game or you don't. Lately it's been coming back in the spotlight though, but this is none other than Super Mario Sunshine at the number 9 spot. And this is a fantastic 3D Mario platformer. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Flood. I was more of a Poltergeist 3000 for Luigi than the Flood for Mario. Both are created by Dr. E. Gadd, but this game was not as fun for me as I thought like Mario 64 was, but this game is still great, and you get Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. was a great addition, I love it, and Bowser talks in this game. Which if you ever wanted to play a game that Bowser talks, this is that game, which isn't weird, but kind of weird that Bowser actually has dialogue. For Flood, the controls can be a little wacky at times, but overall, it's a Mario game. The controls are solid, really is what it comes down to. Everything about this game is going to be pretty solid. It's a fantastic game. There's nothing really bad you can say about Super Mario Sunshine. At number 8, we have another franchise starter that started on the GameCube. Unless you were in Japan, it came out on the N64 before it actually came out on the GameCube. It was actually supposed to come out on the disk drive for the N64 in Japan, but we never actually had access to that because it had an eternal clock, and that is Animal Crossing for the Nintendo GameCube. This is an awesome, easygoing, laid-back game, no stress unless you have a lot of stress when you have to pay off a huge amounts of debt, because that actually might cause a little bit of stress actually. You get to collect the bugs, the fish, they come out certain times of the day or certain times of the month, which was really nice, so it made it so the game kind of goes year round. You're paying off your debt to Tom Nook. He's crooked and he's gonna steal, but whatever. You get to make your house bigger. But at the end of the day, if you're having fun playing Animal Crossing New Horizons and you like a lot of the features that are in that game, a lot of them started right here on the GameCube. This game is fantastic, and it was just a perfect simulation game. At number 7, we have a game full of mazes. some backtracking, shooting, and more confusion than a Zelda game. This is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. This game is dark, this game is hard, and most ruthless bounty hunter on the Nintendo series. Playing as a female protagonist, Samus Aran, you go through light and dark worlds, solving problems, backtracking, and shooting space pirates. Also, probably one of the most difficult games on the GameCube, this game does not disappoint. Sometimes backtracking can be tedious, but between light and dark world, and affecting it both on the two, of like when you do something light world, it affects the dark world and vice versa. This game is really one of the best Metroid games, I think, in the series. Alright, our last game as a series starter on the GameCube is none other than Pikmin, taking the number 6 spot. And what a simple puzzle game, but yet so intuitive. Like, red Pikmin are good for fighting, are resistant to fire as well. Blue Pikmin can breathe underwater. Yellow Pikmin can be thrown higher, and they can pick up bomb rocks, and they all obey you. You crash land on this planet and have 30 days to find 30 ship parts, and you must collect Pikmin to help you take down walls, defeat enemies, and most importantly, restore your ship. Now, there are currently 3 Pikmin games in the series, and you can only wonder why, because it all got started here on the GameCube with the original Pikmin. That's why it's on this list, and that's why it's at the number 6 spot. Go play Pikmin. At number 5, we have The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Now, there are a lot of great Zelda games on the GameCube already with the Master Collection, the Ocarina of Time Master Quest, and Twilight Princess. Although I am kind of doing Twilight Princess as a Wii, because it was a launch title for the Wii and it was the GameCube swan song. But I'm not going to put it on this list because of that. And the other 2 games are previously released Zelda games, so I'm going to leave this one strictly to the Wind Waker. One amazing thing about the Wind Waker, though, is graphically, this game still holds up today. Its shell-shaded graphics and the expressions that Link does on his face, they still look modern. It looks like you're playing a modern game when you still pop this one in today. Plus, like every Zelda game, the story is great. You travel a sea, and spoilers, but the game's been out for years. You stab Ganondorf in the head at the end of this game. That was just totally crazy, I thought, at the end of this, when you just like, you see Ganondorf in its final fight, and it ends with you stabbing him in the head. Like, I just thought that was mind-blowing, especially at the time for Nintendo to do something like that. I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. And it's like, it's this shell-shaded graphic game, and it looks a little more cartoon-like, but then the story was dark at times in this game. This is also a great just adventure game, though. It's a classic Zelda game. If you haven't picked up or played The Wind Waker, I recommend either playing it on the GameCube, or if you want it in an HD experience, you can pick it up on the Wii U as well. Like I said earlier, I like racing. And what is better than racing? Double racing. At number 4, we have Mario Kart Double Dash, and now this is a great expansion to the Mario Kart series. Not only race with one racer, but race with 2. Someone in the back controlling the items this is a great thing. This is good for friends or single player, and one of the best things is now you can have an item up at the front, and you have an item also in the back that the person can control, and you can switch the drivers as you're driving with the Z button. This just made huge improvements to the original Mario Kart not the original Mario Kart, but Mario Kart 64. It just brought it to like the next level, I feel like. I always liked the double item feature, and I'm so excited that in Mario Kart 8 they finally brought that feature back into the mix, because it's just so much better, I think, when you can hold 2 items at the same time. Alright, the last 3 games. Are you trying to look up in your GameCube collection to see what the 3 games may be still? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's get down to the last 3. At number 3, we have Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. Remember when LucasArts developed Star Wars games and they were good? Or they weren't just developed by EA? Because this is the perfect game. This is a follow-up to Rogue Squadron on the N64, but it's back with better missions, better graphics, and better story. You start off on the first mission destroying the Death Star. You get to be an X-Wing, the Millennium Falcon, Slave 1, B-Wing, etc. You get to pick a lot of different ships in this game as well. And flying around, destroying these missions, fighting ships, it's great fun just on the Nintendo GameCube. And at number 2, we have the only double franchise that's on the list, and this is none other than Metroid Prime. Why was Metroid Prime 2 so great? Well, it was because of Metroid Prime. This game has the mazes, the worlds, the suit upgrades, the weapons that you find, the weapon upgrades that you're looking for. And you can argue that the sequel is better, because the sequel is definitely harder, I believe, than the original Metroid Prime. And now this game not only went off to have a trilogy of games all the way up to Metroid Prime 3, and there was a Metroid Prime 4 coming out who knows when. But this brought like the Prime and Metroid back into the home console games or whatever. Like this game defined that moment for Metroid, because before this game, the last Metroid game that had came out on a console was Super Metroid. Okay, if you have not guessed it already, but the number one game on the GameCube on my list is going to be Super Smash Melee. Super Smash was such a hit on the N64 because every possible way Melee improved on it. They added more characters, they added more stages, more functions, faster fight time or faster pace for the fights. Like, it was just such a great fighting game, and it's hard to say that, you know, Evo still has Melee as like a main competitor, and it's relevant still. And this game came out in 2001. Smash is just so unique because it's just such a different fighting game than like Mortal Kombat or Marvel vs. Capcom. It's just unique of what this game does, and the character roster is also just so unique with just a bunch of Nintendo characters coming together, and now even as you get even farther, there are more even third-party characters. But this was such an improvement of the original Smash game. And this game is also responsible for bringing Fire Emblem on the map too, because who knows if we would have even gotten Fire Emblem out here if it wasn't for Smash. And now Smash has a lot of Fire Emblem characters in there. But Melee is where it started. Do you agree with my picks? Let me know. I would love to hear about them in the comments below on what your favorite GameCube games are. And if you're not already, please consider subscribing to stay up to date with more videos like this, and please smash that like button as it really does help out. And as always, everyone of YouTube, show me your moves.